New regulations coming for public service vehicle operators, including mandatory training. A tree falls on a car, injuring the female driver who was traveling along Black Rock Main Road. Plans progress to launch an entity designed to improve business facilitation. And in sports, Gall Hill nip Paradise and take the lead of Group C in the Prime Minister's Cup.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Bowen. By the end of this week, new regulations will be on the table to govern the public transportation sector. And from the beginning of next month, all public service operators will have to undergo mandatory training. These changes were announced by Acting Prime Minister Santia Bradshaw at a press conference today. Rachel Agard reports.
The training will be undertaken by the Barbados Community College. Acting Prime Minister Santia Bradshaw made the announcement following meetings with all transport stakeholders. She says the new regulations will be on the table by the end of this week, following some minor changes to govern the behavior and culture in the sector.
We feel very strongly that the time has now come for that type of mandatory training to be put in place for persons to be certified in order to be able to hold these very important positions where they are responsible for the lives of passengers and certainly of people who are using our roads. And so I've been in discussions with the Transport Authority and the stakeholders with the Barbados Community College. Based on the input from the stakeholders, we have formulated a training session that will allow the certification of the drivers and the conductors to be able to now engage in the level of training and certification before they can participate in driving and certainly conducting on the roads.
Acting Prime Minister Bradshaw says BCC is also developing a program for those who are interested in becoming PSV operators from age 16.
It doesn't mean that they're going to be able to drive right away if they're 16, 17, 18, or even 24, but because the rules obviously state that you can have the permit at 25. And I'm hopeful that once we get the uptake from young people and we're comfortable that they have been able to take on board the teachings and the training and the certification that is necessary from the Barbados Community College, that what we will maybe able to see is maybe a modification of the approach of the age limit that we currently have in place.
All stakeholders in the sector are in agreement on the way forward and have given the regulations and training the thumbs up, having asked for such initiatives for over a decade. Chairman of the Alliance Owners of Public Transport, Roy Raphael, says they are set to roll out a Ride and Win initiative and a Safe Bus initiative, which they hope will drive more people to use their services.
We have seen a decline or a drop-off in the number of passengers traveling on our buses, and it worries us. And we know particularly why, because one, because of the behavior of some of the operators and so on, people tend to want to buy vehicles, and we see more vehicles on the road now. So we want to encourage people to get back into our vehicles.
Training will also be conducted to sensitize the general public on the new regulations. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Rachel, thanks. Now to the other big talking point today, the weather. A wave of severe thunder and lightning storms lashed the island for hours between last night and today. Met officials say it was caused by a surface to low-level shear line that drifted across Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. Anesta Henry reports.
There were heavy rainfall and pockets of flooding across the island today as Barbados felt the tail end of a surface to low-level area of instability conducive to thunderstorms. The unusual weather system resulted in intense thunder and lightning storms on Sunday night into the wee hours of Monday morning. Deputy Director of the Barbados Met Services, Brian Murray, explains what happened.
So what happened is that we had a surface to low-level shear line which passed over the island very slowly during the night, and it had some support from a very favorable upper level diaphragm pattern. So because of that, the clouds got enhanced, and that resulted in some clouds that built up to such an extent that we had very heavy showers scattered thunderstorms, and they had the frequent lightning and thunder that those were experienced. As a matter of fact, it came to a point where we had the issue of flash flood watch and then a severe thunderstorm watch sometime after 9 and 10 o'clock during the night.
Mr. Murray says excessive rainfall and flooding was recorded in southern parishes.
It seems that most of the southern parishes had some good in terms of accumulation. So, for example, here at Charnois, we had 67.7 millimeters. That's about 12 hours. Surrey's Plantation had 48.8 millimeters. And at the Batman and Gollop Primary School, we had 30.4 millimeters. So you can see here that most of the rain and the heavy activity took place during night.
Noting that videos are circulating on social media showing the lightning, Mr. Murray is warning Barbadians to stay indoors during the occurrence of such weather activity. Orion Lynch says the loud thunder and lightning was a scary experience.
It was pretty scary, to be honest. I usually like rainy weather, but at one point the thunder literally jumped me out of my sleep because I thought that it was coming through the window and the lightning was strange. So it wasn't the best experience for me, but thankfully it all turned out well.
Meanwhile, Lisa Martin says she didn't have a clue what was going on.
I slept so soundly, I wasn't even aware that there was lightning and thunder. So, and I love the rain. I love to hear the rain on the rooftop.
Our cameras visited several flood-prone areas across the island. Residents at Murphy's Pasture in the city says due to an improved drainage system, there was no flooding in the area.
Usually we've got enough water in the road, flooding down, just coming down, but now that the boys got back up to work, the canal working, the boys clear the canal and the drainage and everything doing well now. We ain't got no water in the road we no problems to go in the houses right now, because the water is usually come from Mason Hall Street and come straight down, but the drainage working.
Anesta Henry, CBC News.
Well, amid all that bad weather, a large tree fell on a car, injuring the driver. Jalissa Niles was traveling along Black Rock Main Road today, near to the bottom of Free Hill at the time. She was the lone occupant and received injuries to her right shoulder, arm and leg. She was treated by the ambulance personnel on the scene. She is now asking officials to deal with trees that need to be cut down or removed to prevent further incidents like this one.
I was just driving normal, and as you could see the tree, it just dropped down on the car. I believe that the authorities should take this CSO as a warning sign to deal with these sort of trees now, because it could have been so much worse. Thanks to the guys that come and pull me out the vehicle before anything else happened, because I had the explosion. You understand? That's where all the glass then come on me.
Well, Chairperson of the St. Michael Northwest District Emergency Organization, Doriel Gill Skinner, says this is a wake-up call.
This is much like what happened recently at Westbury, and I'm hoping that after this morning, the incident that happened to Jalissa will not happen to anybody else.
The Barbados Meteorological Service is closely monitoring the progress of two areas of low pressure. Those systems are about 2,125 kilometers and 3,100 kilometers respectively to the east of Barbados. However, there are no watches, no warnings in effect for Barbados for these systems. Both are expected to track north of the island over the weekend. As such, the systems pose no direct threat to Barbados. However, while no direct impacts are expected for the island, the presence of these systems in our region will extend the period of light wind speeds, uncomfortably warm days, and heat stress for people. Now, work on legislation to establish Business Barbados has been completed. The update from Minister of Energy and Business Development, Senator Lisa Cummins, who says the initiative announced by Prime Minister Mia Amar Motley in this year's budgetary proposals will be launched by next month. Ms. Cummins made the comment at the launch of Global Business Week. She says the legislation designed to improve business facilitation in the country is still in the consultation phase.
Business Barbados has taken into consideration much of what you've said, and so we have taken the full sweep of large companies like those that are represented here in BIBA to small entities like those that are represented in the Small Business Association and everything in between. How do we make life easier for people, but how do we make the country more attractive as well?
Meanwhile, BIBA's president, Marlon Yard, says the association is pleased to learn from the Revenue Commissioner and her team that there has been no exodus of international companies from Barbados since the increase in the corporate tax rates took effect from January this year. He says, moreover, BIBA is aware of several companies in the area of fintech, shipping and petrochemicals that are in the process of getting new licenses to operate in Barbados.
We have also seen companies among our members within the international insurance industry that have started to scale up their presence in Barbados. However, we remain vigilant and responsive to the competitive forces that seek ways to lure business away from Barbados. As such, we need to continue to innovate and refresh our offers to new investors and the efficient way we facilitate business in Barbados.
Well, Global Business Week starts on the 20th of October with a church service and with its marquee event being the Hybrid Global Business Conference on the 24th and 25th of October. We'll take a break here, but coming up, a project launched to address historical injustices of slavery.
From the heart of Barbados, we are your 2024 St. Thomas Parish Ambassadors. Are you aware of the Child Protection Bill of Barbados?
The Child Protection Bill focuses on the best interests of all children in Barbados, with particular attention to those who are most vulnerable.
Furthermore, it emphasizes the importance of proper care for children under 12.
Remember, if a child is left unsupervised for an extended period, it can be considered an offense and lead to legal consequences such as fines or even imprisonment, as it puts the child at risk.
By prioritizing the well-being of all children and holding adults accountable, the Child Protection Bill builds a safety net for Barbados' most precious gems. Let's all protect the children of Barbados, the gems of our nation.
A significant step has been taken in the island's journey to have the historical injustices of slavery acknowledged and addressed. It comes with the launch of the Codrington Restorative Project. As part of that effort, a sum of $18 million has been pledged over the next 10 to 15 years. Rachel Agard has that story.
General Secretary of the United Society Partners in the Gospel, Reverend Dr. Duncan Dormore, says he stands in the shoes of those who committed the atrocities against those in the Caribbean. And he notes last year, the Codrington Trust and USPG announced their intent to partner on a project of reparative justice, renewal and reconciliation. As a start to these relations, officials planted a tree on the grounds of Codrington College to mark the occasion.
During the period, as we've heard, 1712 to 1838 or so, SPG owned and managed these estates. It exploited the labour of enslaved persons of African descent within the brutal, racialised system of chattel slavery.
Describing acts done to those enslaved as blasphemous and a crime against humanity. He says those at USPG are deeply ashamed of those acts and have accepted full responsibility for the abuse meted out to those at Codrington and throughout the wider Caribbean.
We commit ourselves publicly to taking steps to repair and restore, to work towards a more just future.
Executive Secretary of the Codrington Trust, Kevin Farmer, says this is the first time a project of such magnitude has been undertaken in the English-speaking Caribbean. He says over the next decade, they have committed to undertaking to find different methodologies and programs of repair for all involved.
But what we now need to do, literally, is to return to the communities, the 5 tenantries, and begin these discussions with them where they are. For too long, the trust has called meetings and asked the community to come to them. We can no longer do that.
It is now the intention that descendants of enslaved people benefit from the 5 pillars of the project and the reparatory justice. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Member of Parliament for St. Andrew, Dr. Rommel Springer, supports efforts by community groups to develop tourism-based initiatives in their area. One such group, the St. Andrew Community Development Commission, hosted a mix and mingle event on the environs of the Morgan Lewis Windmill, showcasing the rural parish. Dr. Springer believes these NGOs can be the link between government and the community.
They have first-hand knowledge of what is happening in the community. They have first-hand knowledge of the various activities within the community, and they have that intimate relationship with the community, so they can really, better express what's going on in the community. And St. Andrews is one such community that there's so much going on. There's so much to see. There's so much to do that when you come into St. Andrew, you don't have to leave for the entire day. You can come here to Morgan Lewis and you can have a tour of the windmill, something that most persons in Barbados have never had a closer experience with.
A local group is doing its part to help improve the lives of people with autism. Two Loving Mothers Foundation organized a day activity yesterday for children and adults with the condition at Kids World Rental in St. George. Co-founder Sharon Walker says the Water Play Day event is intended to help stimulate the minds and bodies of autistic individuals.
There's not much that autism children can do and go to. The normal parties and everything, they're exception to that. They're accepted from that because the behavior and things like, right now, there's my son right now here. But I was trying to find an environment where the kids are comfortable, number one, along with other children in their area that understand them, and also the comfortability of the parent, having that you can, we live like a family, you can disappear and your child is taken care of. It's like a village, right? So I wanted to make it plain that, give it a safe environment for the parent and child.
Some constituents of St. Michael's South spent yesterday relaxing at a picnic at Farley Hill National Park with their Member of Parliament Kirk Humphrey. Mr. Humphrey said the event was important for the children as it helped them to relax and refocus for the beginning of the school year. Mr. Humphrey also said it gave him the chance to chat with the parents and show love to his constituents.
I think after the break, before school starts, there is I think a week or so before school starts and a week after school starts. That transition before and transition after, that's very difficult for children. And I tell my parents, I take this opportunity also to talk to the parents and just to tell them to spend some time with the children. I think that's crucial. But beyond the whole summer thing, I think the fact is that we live in a very difficult time for children, We've seen an increase in violent crime, a reduction in crime, but an increase in violent crimes. And a lot of these children in my constituency would know people who were victims of crime. I myself, since I've been MP, I've lost a number of people, young people, to violent crime. And some of those children are here, and relatives of those victims are here. So I think it's also an opportunity for people to just have an opportunity to show love, because I think what Barbados really needs at this moment is a little bit of love.
One local church choir is planning to expand its horizons and have its music on the international stage. The NABA Music Rhythms of Heaven launched their gospel album, which includes 25 of their original gospel songs with Caribbean flavor. The band will also have their music on all international music platforms, including Apple Music and Spotify. Now, speaking at the launch was one of the writers, Dr. Andre Thomas, who says they have over 75 songs written and recorded, but they decided on 25 to start the project.
In counting, we have 75 or over 75 original songs, and we recorded 25, and every year the NABA band will be producing album after album after album. And we have started with 25, so I guess we'll never go beyond. We'll never go less than 25.
We'll take a break here.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Morning Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morningbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Time for Sports Night. Time for Damien Best. Damien, good evening.
Good evening to you, Pearson. Good evening to our viewers and listeners. Some football news first up. Pride of Gall Hill moved to the top of Group C as round 2 of the Prime Minister's Cup football competition continued last night at Briar Hall in Christchurch. Pride of Gall Hill edged Paradise 4-3 to move to 4 points in the standings. Meanwhile, the second game between Whitehall and Wotton was locked at 1-1 before being postponed till Saturday due to severe thunderstorm activity near the venue. Prime Minister's Cup, Briar Hall the venue. Paradise in blue versus Pride of Gall Hill, 14th minute. Corner kick to Gall Hill. Goalkeeping shambolic at this point. And Ronaldo Marquez eventually on the end of it, 1-0. Just before halftime, Pride of Gall Hill would add another. Tyrese Crawford in the 44th minute. Solo mission under pressure. Bends it like Beckham. This one into the bottom left corner. Beautiful goalkeeper. Nashton Brown stunned. 2-0. Second half we go, switch of ends. 61st minute, exquisite dink over the top to release Winston Maynard. Should not and does not miss. 2-1 then. 2 minutes later, Gall Hill playing lackluster football, and that's a recipe for punishment. Paradise down the right, cross comes over, partial clearance. Goal blocked on the long-range effort. But Maynard says, I'll take that. We're locked at 2-2. Game on. After that, rude awakening, Pride of Gall Hill rediscovered their identity. Danger in the 18-yard box. Raquan Clark with that outstretched boot. Whistle goes. Penalty awarded. Kobe Burgess from the spot sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. Order restored. Pride of Gall Hill lead 3-2. Into time added on now. And almost a carbon copy scenario of the first penalty. Andre Brathwaite and fellow substitute Akil Barrow pleading their innocence, but the referee would have none of it. Penalty. Burgess, twice as nice, buries it. Pride of Gall Hill 4, Paradise 2. A late consolation from Armando Sugar-Lashley threatened to make the final seconds exciting, but the damage was already done. Pride of Gall Hill securing a 4-3 victory over Paradise. The second match between Wotton and Whitehall was impacted by adverse weather conditions late on, but not before an audacious challenge in the 18-yard box resulted in a penalty in the first half. Manny Leacock from 12 yards, clinical, 1-0 Wotton. Second half business now, and Whitehall would equalize via corner kick midway into the second half. Rashad Phillips at the back post unmarked, drilled home to make it Wotton 1, Whitehall 1. The match had about 20 minutes and change left in it, but the weather conditions started to change. Thunder and lightning in the vicinity meant the officials had to put safety first, and the game was halted to be continued at a different date. Barbados will be searching for back-to-back victories in the CONCACAF Nations League when they take on the U.S. Virgin Islands tomorrow in their second match of Group A in League C at the Bethlehem Soccer Complex in St. Croix. After defeating Bahamas 3-2 on Saturday, the Tridents have their eyes on 3 more points against the hosts. CBC's Ann Margaret Boyce reports.
It was back to the drawing board for the Barbados senior men's national football team after they defeated the Bahamas right here at the Bethlehem Soccer Complex 3-2 in their first CONCACAF Nations League game for 2024-2025. And as you can see behind me, the Tridents are now hard at work focusing on that next match against the USVI on Tuesday.
With just a few hours left until kickoff, the Tridents were in good spirit as they seek to register consecutive victories for the first time since 2019. And speaking to CBC Sports ahead of the match, assistant head coach Marlon Hart says the goal is to continue building on Saturday's positive result.
The objective, firstly, to try to get the 3 points and secure it in as reasonable a way as possible, with eye on improving on the things that we can be better at. That's always important, and that's very measurable. And I think with the group of boys, they're definitely looking to improve on what we did in the last game.
With promotion back to League B as the main priority, Hart says it's important for the Tridents to remain on top of the group going into next month's fixtures.
We understand where we are in the project. We understand that we want to build blocks and create a firm foundation for what we want, expand on in the future. So, to get results and play well is going to be key. We don't want to think about, having to do anything. We just kind of want to focus on being better than we were the last time.
Tomorrow's match, which is slated for 4 p.m., will be the final game in the opening round before the second leg of the competition in October. Reporting from St. Croix, Anmar Goodrich-Boyce, CBC Sports.
Well, thanks, Anmar. That is the first half in sports. Pearson, it's back over to you.
Thank you, Damien. Up next on CBC's Newsnight, the business report.
From the heart of Barbados, we are your 2024 St. Thomas Parish Ambassadors. Are you aware of the Child Protection Bill of Barbados?
The Child Protection Bill focuses on the best interests of all children in Barbados, with particular attention to those who are most vulnerable.
Furthermore, it emphasizes the importance of proper care for children under 12.
Remember, if a child is left unsupervised for an extended period, it can be considered an offense and lead to legal consequences such as fines or even imprisonment, as it puts the child at risk.
By prioritizing the well-being of all children and holding adults accountable, the Child Protection Bill builds a safety net for Barbados' most precious gems. Let's all protect the children of Barbados, the gems of our nation.
In business tonight, Sagicor Bank is the best digital consumer bank in Barbados. That's among a number of titles the financial institution has picked up from Global Finance. Chief Client Officer Leanne Corbin Van Vacas tells the business report it augurs well for the bank and the industry.
We just won 10 awards from Global Finance, and Global Finance is an international group. They look at banks across the entire world, and we actually won Best Digital Consumer Bank in Barbados, and then also we won a few awards, 2 awards in terms of Caribbean and Latin America. So we actually won in Barbados Best Information Services and Fraud Management, best in that. So I know our clients would be happy to know that their money is protected, and we're doing our very best in terms of our technology on to protect our clients and ensure that they get the very best quality product from Sagicor Bank.
The bank says it has been paying attention to onboarding and their portfolio has grown exponentially.
For the bank, it's huge because what it does is it says all the hard work that we put in, is justified. Everything that we've done to ensure that we give great client experience, that we give great technology and make it easy for our clients to onboard and to bank with us. And also that, the efforts that we've been putting in our marketing space, etc. It's great to get that recognition and being told, hey, you're #1 in this space, right? And so being around for just over a year and having 18,000 plus clients, this means to us everything.
Amid concern about the hot weather affecting the island, a local company has found what it says is the most cost-effective way to beat the sweltering heat. Solar Dynamics is introducing solar-powered air conditioning units in Barbados. Managing Director George Connolly says the technology is useful for Barbadian households.
So Zara is from a company called GD Tinto, and they're our partner for the solar air conditioning units and also for our PV electric systems. So our photovoltaic electric systems, we're doing installations now. He's on the island, doing installations and training the team as they go through it. And he's also on the island to bring us up to date on the latest technologies and also the best maintenance, management, and installation for the solar air conditioning units.
Zhou Pengfa Zhu, the trainer from China, explains how the photovoltaic panels help with cooling.
Solar AC is different from the standard AC. We use solar power to power the AC. The standard with AC use the AC power, while our solar power AC use the DC powers. That means solar panel create DC current, and the air conditioner can use DC current directly without no transfers. That saved the energy and made the whole system more efficiency.
Time now for tonight's trading report.
In Jamaica, Victon Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with 9,134,317 units was the volume leader, followed by Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited and the Sagicor Select Funds Limited Manufacturing and Distribution. In Trinidad and Tobago NGL Limited was the volume leader with 51,121 shares changing hands for a value of Trinidad and Tobago $255,614.40, followed by Massey Holdings Limited. And here in Barbados, no securities traded today on the regular market.
And that's tonight's business report. We'll take a break here. Don't you want to know what the weather holds? We'll tell you after the break.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
You could almost say it took a rainy day to get Selma back in here, but that's not necessarily the truth.
And we are interested in the forecast, so we'll take in those details now. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 13 to 6, and the sun will set at 2 minutes after 6. Our first daytime high tide tomorrow will be at 6 minutes after 8, and the first daytime low will be at 18 minutes before 1. Seas will be calm to moderate in open water. We're expecting swells to peak at around 1.5 meters. The winds, as I said, they will be light, 10 to 20 kilometers per hour, and the winds will come in from the south to the east-southeast. And tonight, look at that forecast. It's going to be cloudy. We could see clear periods, but we do expect that there will be moderate to intense showers, pretty much like today, and a chance of some isolated thunderstorms. And over the next 3 days, we will see some sunshine, but because of moisture and lingering instability, we do anticipate that there will be some moderate shower activity from Tuesday through to Thursday.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Morning Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morningbarbados@cbc.bb, and together we will travel the world.
Let's get back to more sports now as promised. Once again, here's Damien Best.
Thanks so much, Pearson. Well, boys under 18 top seed Xavier Hastic went one step further than last year's performance when he finished as a runner-up by securing the national under 18 singles tennis title this year with a commanding victory over second-seeded Aidan Clark at 6-2, 6-2. The match was played at the Tennis Center in Wildy. CBC's Anne-Marie Burke reports.
On the right in the white, top seed Xavier Hastic. On the left, Aiden Clark. This is the boys under 18 final where it was Hastic who dominated the match. You saw that quick fire return? With the serve is Clark, who was so consistent throughout the tournament. And we are having a good rally here. Both boys showing good control. But oops, Clark hits into the net and Hastic gains yet another point. Service change and Hastic opens this play. And again, we saw a rally that was building up to be exciting. But Clark had too much power on the return and it's out. And sure enough, in the blink of an eye, Hastic had the first set sewn up, as another out-of-bound return gave him the 6-2 win. The second saw the script the same. We pick it up with Hastic up 5-2. But Clark was not going to make it easy for him to close out the win, pulling Hastic to the net with this short return, and he goes out. Clark applied the pressure later on, really making Hastic work the court. Lovely return down the left, and Hastic is literally left reaching for it. But having been the runner-up last year, Hastic meant the title must be his this year. What a sweet backhand. Hastic then delivered an ace as victory was on the horizon. Set and match point. Clark's return is too long. Xavier Hastic is the 2024 Under-18 Boys Singles National Champion.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Well, the boys under 14 singles final also saw the top seed prevail as Zane Curtin took down second seed Travis Licorice at 6-2, 6-love. Well, finally, it's time for Let's Play Ball, a look at the teams in the running for the inaugural Prime Minister's Cup. Tonight, it's the Barbados Soccer Academy.
Let's play ball. Here's a look at the teams gearing up to do battle in the inaugural Prime Minister's Cup. Passage Road is where you'll find the boys from Barbados Soccer Academy putting in the training to ensure they are a tight unit in the ongoing Prime Minister's Cup. Curtis Brathwaite is the man in charge, and with a good attendance practice record from his team, it's about tweaking their style of play.
We're changing the system of play, how we are playing. We're also slowing the game down a bit to accommodate the players that we have.
Mentally, the boys from Soccer Academy are also on their A game.
They're full of confidence, full of belief. They honestly believe that they can get all the way through the tournament. Right, they're very, very confident.
And perhaps part of that boost of confidence is the inclusion of guest player Justin White, a semi-pro player out of the USA with Bajan roots. Actually, White is on the island preparing for the national team for the upcoming Nations League. And in the role as player coach of the Soccer Academy, he fits right in.
They're responding very well. It's very positive. You have your times where it's some confusion because I'm not fully Bajan, I'm coming from the States, but I've been very, very, very pleased with how they've responded to my training sessions.
All right, guys. All right, man, carry your balls down to the yellow grid down there.
Like I said, they're excited to play. They want to get good results. They want to shock the island. So I'm all for it. So we're just trying to go all in and make sure that they're prepared for that.
Barbados Soccer Academy are in Group C with Kickstar FC, UWI, and Pinans. That was Let's Play Ball. We just got some insight into the teams gearing up for the inaugural Prime Minister's Cup.
And that's my time for sports tonight. Pearson, it's back over to you.
Thank you, Damien. We'll be right back after this break.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Morning Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morningbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Minding your business. On this edition of Minding Your Business. Would you believe it is just over 4 years since we first met Wayne Eiffel and his iconic Auntie Phyllis barbecue sauce brand? Well, obviously since then we've been through the height of the COVID-19 pandemic and more, but the brand continues to endure despite the challenges. In fact, Wayne recently shared some big news about the major growth of his Auntie Phyllis brand that has now opened the doors to export outside of the Caribbean region.
I used the opportunity to improve on the brand. Instead of just having one flavor, I kept adding. Where we had the original, we had the pineapple saga, we had the rum fusion, and we had the sweet heat. But then we added also the ultimate heat. We improved on the label of the ultimate heat. We changed that. This was a red label similar to the sweet heat label. We worked on the label, and then we actually improved the actual quality of the product itself. We did a lot of testing through the analytical services, and we just tried to elevate the brand.
And it is that top local quality for which they are known that has now also gotten the attention of others well beyond the shores of Barbados, officially taking the Auntie Phyllis brand international.
It is heartwarming now to realize that people not only locally have embraced the brand, but we had a distributor who came from the UK, and he actually took some of the products back to the UK, and he did a showcase around England. And many of the folks there actually liked the product, they liked how it tasted, and they embraced what we call that Bajan culture. And we also made the product at the International Food Science Center, which is a good thing because it gives us one, quality assurance. It gives people that satisfaction of the fact that what they are putting in their stomach is something that is palatable, and it is something that is certified. That has been a God-given, that we call something God sent. You have to save some funds and go up there because you have to be able to scale up. And to be able to scale up, you need the facility. To be able to export, you need the compliance. As a small entrepreneur, micro entrepreneur, I can't afford some of the things that in that building. At home here, making that product, it would take me 3 hours to make probably like 96 bottles. I went up to the Food Science Center, and I can now make like 384 bottles, which is like 32 cases in that same space of time.
And though he has now gone international, Wayne says Auntie Phyllis still has some loyal local customers that range from individuals to restaurants and some select stores across the island. He says the restaurants especially love the convenience of having a sauce that is consistent for their customers, that is guaranteed to taste the same great way every time they use it. Now, going forward, he says the sky continues to be the limit and that the Caribbean region and multi-million-dollar U.S. market are his next major targets. He says the 12-ounce bottles are mainly for domestic use, while the half-gallon and gallon bottles are usually purchased by commercial customers. Now, for those of you keen to get your hands on some bottles of Auntie Phyllis barbecue sauce, here's what to do.
We are located here in Vauxhall Hope in St. George. There are also a number of outlets now that you can get them in the retail stores. But if you want to get me directly, you can contact me at 850-0180. You can email me at auntiephylis2019@gmail.com. You can follow us on IG. You can follow us on Facebook. And we also have a website, www.auntiephylisbajanbarbecuesauce.com. And you can also check out our YouTube channel, Auntie Phyllis Bajan Kitchen.
So be sure to get your orders in for yourself or your restaurant. And with that, that's all the time we have for this week's program. So until next time, I'm Ryan Broom, and this has been Minding Your Business. Minding Your Business.
Well, that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen. For the crew, to all of you, good night. By God's will, we'll see you tomorrow.